Okay, so this video is going to try and explain a little bit about how the jump glitch in Stage 3 works. The jump glitch, if you're not in the know, is a glitch in Stage 3 that lets you jump a lot higher than you normally do. Now normally in Contra, when you jump, your jump height is pretty much fixed. You can slightly alter it by moving in certain directions, but the actual height of the jump is pretty much fixed. There's just not a lot of variation in it. The exception though is in Stage 3. So this jump here, just as an example, when I do a jump, it has that height, and I'm not going to be able to get higher than that. I'm not going to be able to get high enough by doing any combination of left and right to be able to reach that ledge, no matter how many times I try and scroll the screen up. But with a certain setup that I've got in the save state, I can just jump and I'll get it. And the question is, why does it work sometimes but not other times? And the answer has to do with the memory address that I've got to watch for here in the bottom right at 0094. The best thing I can say about this address is that it's an address that determines how high your jump goes. It's not an address relating to your position. It's not like a subpixel thing or like the division of what your position is. It's just that your height of the jump fluctuates as the screen scrolls up, and so our goal, of course, is to manipulate this address to get it to be the certain value that we want. So I know that certain values of this address allow you to do the jump. The range of it is somewhere between 95 and 102, somewhere around 17, and there are probably a few other values, but there are certain specific values that it needs to have for the jump glitch to work. The tricky thing, though, is understanding how this address behaves, and this is where we're stuck. So the address is pretty much fixed when you're not moving, when you're not jumping. So just firing, shooting, moving around, ducking, the address is the same. It changes each time you make a jump. And as you can notice, it fluctuates wildly and a bit unpredictably. Now I'm going to load a state here. It's consistent if you jump the same way each time. So it'll always be negative 27 on this jump. And it starts changing a bit wildly or a bit unpredictably when you do a jump and you're moving and the screen is scrolling up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a save state here. So right now the address is -1. So if I do a straight jump, the address is 71. Now one interesting thing about it is that by moving left and right before you reach the height of your jump, the height of the jump changes ever so slightly, and it gives that testing address, that 0094 address, different values. So if I jump left and then immediately go right, the value is 12, as opposed to jumping straight, where the value is 71. So if I hold left and then go right at the very end, the value is 71. It's a bit different. If I go left slightly and then go right, it's 39. And the jumps that I've done, they look very similar, but they give completely different values for the 0094 address. And the reason why it's impractical to do this in a real-time run is because even the slightest variation on these left and right movements can throw that address completely off. Even the slightest fluctuations can change whether or not you'll be able to perform the glitch. And so the challenge that we have is that in a real speed run, you don't get to see what the value of the address 0094 is, and so there isn't an effective way of telling whether you do it right or not. So if we jump back to our save state here, so right now the value of the testing address is 102, so that means if I jump, I'll get it. But if I just move ever so slightly value is -28, and I don't even come close to making it. And the difference is basically that address, that 0094 address. Now, because the address fluctuates so wildly with even the slightest movement, it becomes impossible for you to say, hey, in doing a speed run, hold it for this amount of frames and then go right. It becomes impossible to manipulate in real time. And that's the challenging thing. So the plan that I had was that what we would do is we would not change directions mid-jump. And so you can try that. You can try and map out all of the jumps in the entire level. And if you jump the same way, you can guarantee that the value at 0094 will be correct. So right now the value is 17. And so if I jump, I'll get it. The only reason why that worked is because I happen to have memorized all of the jumps up to that point. And so I know that if I jump the same way, and by the time I reach that, I'll get it. But if I just do one jump and then try and jump in the exact same way, notice that the value is 13. I don't get it. And that even goes for the slightest left-right fluctuations. So I'll make a state here. So right now it's 17, so I can do the jump. But if I were to jump left and then hold right, slightly at the beginning of the jump, the value is now -61. I don't get the jump. And so it just takes one jump in those sequence of jumps to throw off the value, and then you don't get it. And that's the challenging thing is, so if we were to do this in a speed run, we would have to plan out the jumps so that you would be jumping in the exact same way every time, so that by the time you get to a certain spot, the value would be where it needed to be, and then you could jump and you could make it. The problem is that that route that I just showed you, that's actually not the optimal route, because what we want to do is we want to jump here and jump there. If you take the route to the left, you'll be getting an extra jump. So as of right now, I have not found a combination of jumps that will get the right value for memory address 0094 to be able to skip a jump. If I find one, I'll post it, but unfortunately, because of the logistics of this glitch and how it works, it becomes almost impossible to manipulate in real time. What the tool-assisted speedrun does is that what they'll do is they'll make a safe, what the tool-assisted speedrun does is they say, okay, I want to get that 0094 address to have a certain value, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and jump, and I'll say, okay, left, 2 frames, then right. So it'll give me 68. Or it'll be like, okay, I don't want 68, so I'll go left, 4 frames, then right, and get a different value. And so they just brute force, trial and error, just keep manipulating those jumps until you get the address that you want to be able to do the jump. Now, that's completely impractical for us doing a real-time speedrun, so as of now, there's just not a way to do it. What I can say is that if you do happen to have the right value, just hold right on your jump, and you will get it. Other than that, this trick is pretty much dead in the water for now. And yeah, thanks for watching.